Hey everybody, welcome back to the Magical Man Cave. My name is Neil. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing Kluster, which is a game that I bought for my wife for Christmas. Now, it may look fairly small, and it kind of is, but this thing, honestly, packs small, plays big. It's a really interesting game, and in this video, let's get into what it is. Okay, so Kluster is a magnetic game. These things here are the stones, and you get about 14 of them, I think, each if you're playing 2-player, and 7 if you're playing 4-player. So I got the numbering wrong. There's 6 for a 4-player game, 12 for a 2-player game, and 24 in total. So you can play up to 4 people. It says so there. It also says that it's for 14 plus, but I think anyone over the age of about 8 would probably understand how to do this. Any younger than that, they might start messing about a little bit too much. But I don't think 14 is a sensible age for it. Of course, don't sue me if your 14-year-old swallows it or whatever. If your 12-year-old goes ahead and goes, "Oh, they look nice, let's swallow those." Probably not a good idea to swallow these things. They are pretty strong magnets. So what's in the box? So we've emptied it here. We've got an orange loop that goes on the table. I'll show you that in a second. And we've got a whole load of instructions, but frankly, you don't really need them because the game is so damn simple anyway. They come like this. These are the stones. They come like this. These are the stones, and they are very powerfully magnetic. And this is really important for the next bit. So these are really satisfying just to mess about with, to be completely honest, but that's not the purpose of the game. So how do we actually play? Let's take it over to the table and I'll show you. Okay, so you start out by putting this loop of orange down on the table. And then all you have to do, you have 2 people, one on either side probably, with their pile of stones. And each of you just takes it in turns. And I know this sounds really lame. They take it in turns to put stones into the loop. And that sounds really, really easy. And it kind of is to begin with. Until you get to a point, like this maybe, where they start to attract to each other. When they do, you then put them all back in your own pile, and it's the other person's turn. And you have to do this ideally as quickly as possible because it makes it a bit more fun. And when they do clack together like that, you just collect them. And it's the first one to get rid of their pile, not to collect them. It's easy to collect them, but it's actually the aim of the game is to get rid of as many as you can as quickly as possible. But you need to take it in turns. And so there are certain techniques that you can use to try to make it easier for yourself. But as you can see, it's not as easy as it looks. I mean, I'm doing this sort of bent over. But let's see. And sometimes they push them away, sometimes they attract them. So if you're doing it like this, you almost need a majority in order to win. So you need to be able to, yeah, see, now, oops, let's put that one back, that wasn't fair. So now they're almost the same. You've almost got a similar amount there. So you do kind of need to be able to get these down as quickly as you can and hope that the other person is going to mess up in a big enough way that you've then got enough room to put your own down. So hopefully that makes sense. Please let me know if it does down in the comments. And cleanup on this is particularly easy. So if let's say that someone puts down their final piece and they're all done and the other person's got a whole chunk of them like this, the cleanup is really, really easy. That's it. You're done. And then you just chuck it back in a bag. It's honestly the most fun game I've played in a long time. My wife and I did break with tradition this year or last year, and we opened one present on Christmas Eve, and this was the present that I recommended that my wife opened. And it's called Kluster, and it's a fantastic game. I just absolutely love it, and I don't really think there's very much wrong with it. These magnets are incredibly heavy for what they are. They are essentially, I think they're hematite. I think they are. Now, hematite is a form of iron oxide. Now, I don't want to give you a chemistry lesson in this video, but it's a form of iron oxide that it looks metallic because they kind of are. So they're almost dark, metal-y kind of colour. And they're also heavily, heavily magnetic. Now, hematite normally wouldn't be, but these, I think, have been artificially made into magnets. And they are really satisfying to play with. They're smooth, they're shiny, they're magnets. I mean, you know, who doesn't want to play with a magnet? But aside from that, you can adjust the size of this. So if you are playing with 4 people and you want to make it easier or harder, depending on the age of the people that you're playing with, you could move this knot tighter or further away. So I think we've probably got it around about where we want it. So we just chuck that back in the box and it's all done. You really don't need instructions with this. It's literally just what I've told you, and you could probably work it out just by watching a very short video on how people are playing. So how quick is it? It's really fast. It's a really fast-paced game. You could probably do it in under a minute, which is why you'd want to then rematch all the time. And actually, we spent hours doing this the first time we opened it. And we do sometimes get it out even now just to play along to it. And I know we've only had it since Christmas Eve, but we haven't got bored of it. So I know it's only a couple of weeks in, but I am still loving Kluster. And I think there are some cheap knockoffs online. I can't really see how you would go very wrong with this. The only thing is that some of the cheap knockoffs, because I bought the official Kluster version, which I think is the original, but I have seen some reviews online that some of the cheaper knockoffs have very, very different size stones. So, some of these are admittedly different sizes, but they're not vastly different to each other. So if you look at all of those, they're not very, very different to each other. They're all fairly roughly the same sort of size. I've heard that some of the reviews online of the cheaper versions are that they are incredibly different sizes, and so it's just not fair. And it just kind of depends on the luck of the draw as to who gets the bigger ones, who gets the smaller ones. Maybe that's something you want. I don't think so, to be honest, because I would much rather have a fairer game. The other thing that it comes with is a drawstring bag in order to put all of the magnets in. Again, not entirely necessary. You could just bung them in a box. But I do think it's quite nice just to be able to put those away into a drawstring bag and then kind of forget about them. So there you go, into a drawstring bag. And the cleanup on this game is so much better than any other game I've ever had. So I think it's really awesome, and as a game, it's fantastic. If you want to see more game reviews, by the way, please let me know down in the comments. I know that my previous game review did quite well on this channel as opposed to some of my other videos. So if that's the sort of thing you want to watch, please just let me know. Click the like button, subscribe, ding that bell, all of that sort of thing. I'll be back next time with some more magical awesomeness, but until next time, as always,
Play magical.